So what the heck happened?
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
The Force will be with you.
Always.
What's really good, guys? It's your boy Spotted Menace here for HEELKAIJU, and welcome to Kaiju Cinematic Destruction, our movie review show for the channel. And as a reminder, if you would like to see this channel continue to grow, be sure to subscribe to us, drop us a like on any of the content that you enjoy on our channel, and make sure to comment down below because we do love to hear from you, our Kaiju faithful. And now let's just get right into it. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I've been sitting on this review for the past few days now, just trying to figure out what I really thought about this film. I'm in a weird position right now because usually I hop into these with my sister, who was unable to join me because she had to go to the hospital. And if you would like to, give her your well wishes, go ahead and hop on Twitter and hit her up at @spotted_Daria and, let her know, show her some love. But usually we hop right into these, maybe at most a day later, and do these reviews just off the cuff and just tell us what we think about these films. And this one was a little bit harder for me, mainly because I just didn't know how I wanted to score this. I didn't know how I wanted to approach this. But I think now that I've come up with a conclusion for this, or at least I've come up with two thoughts for this. One, this movie definitely hits different, and I know it's kind of obvious because we have a new director at the helm. J.J. Abrams is running this film, taking it away from Rian Johnson. And say what you will about the first two films, I enjoyed the frick out of them. I loved The Force Awakens. It really renewed my enjoyment for the property in a way that I didn't think that I could, because once the second trilogy, the prequels, popped in, I thought, okay, well, I'm kind of lukewarm on Star Wars, but then Force Awakens hits and I'm like right back into it. The Last Jedi, even though I wasn't supposed to like it, to hear some people tell it, I enjoyed that too. It wasn't nearly as good as the first one, but it was still enjoyable to me. This one didn't leave nearly as much of an impact as the first two did. I mean, say what you will about The Last Jedi, at least, it had an impact. People either loved it or absolutely freaking hated it. This one, I'm not sure anybody's going to remember it as much when they leave the theater. And that's just kind of where I'm at with it. It was just okay. It was an okay experience with this movie. The other problem with this film is that it felt like an obligation. And that's what I think is why it didn't hit the way that the other two did for me. It felt like an obligation, and the way that it ran from scene to scene felt like it was just on a rush to just try to get to the climax, despite how long this damn movie was. Over 2.5 hours long. It just felt like it was an obligation, and it felt like a chore to kind of get through during some instances. What I liked about the first two films was a lot of the character work between Finn and Rey and Poe. It was enjoyable to see them on screen, but you didn't really get nearly as much as you wanted in The Rise of Skywalker that you did in the first two films. And that takes a point away from this film, because otherwise it's just, a bunch of characters just trying to run on a train just to get to the end point. A lot of the suspense that I wish that I could have enjoyed in the first half of this film also was resolved way too quickly. A lot of the set pieces were just resolved way too quickly without allowing you to just fully sit back and enjoy it. And it really has no reason to try to be so quick, to try to be so frenetic and just trying to get the story done, because this is a gorgeous movie, and I really wish it would let you enjoy it. The story is also pretty enjoyable too, but it wouldn't let you enjoy the story because every time something happened, it was already making its way to the next set piece, and that really made it hard for me to enjoy this film the way that I wanted to. Even though there are some aspects of this film that I did like. For instance, I loved I loved Kylo Ren's sort of redemption arc, the way that it happened. I wasn't expecting it to happen this way, and I was kind of dreading it because I think we've had way too many villain was kind of sort of right, or villain had a point, and all of a sudden everybody's okay with them. I think we had a few too many stories like that. But this one, you don't get that. You get Kylo Ren growing like fully as a character over the course of this movie, and whenever he was really fighting against the nature of the dark side that he did throughout the duration of this film. It really was refreshing to me. As I said, this movie is also gorgeous. I loved a lot of these the scenes and set pieces. One of the best ones was throughout most of the desert scene. It could have just been a bunch of yellow and oranges and just been perfectly fine, but there was a lot of colors, a lot of hues in there that really kept my attention throughout most of the scenes. But again, throughout that desert scene, too many of the suspenseful and conflicting set pieces were just resolved within just a few minutes, and it really just made it hard to really care about what was happening on screen, because whenever there is some suspense later on in the movie, you're kind of throwing up your shoulders going, okay, well, they were able to get through this, so quickly before, so why am I sitting on the edge of my seat for the later half of this film? The story of Rey's parentage, I was not expecting that, and maybe I'm an idiot because I have heard some other people go like, oh man, I already saw that coming. It was like, I didn't see that twist coming. I enjoyed the fuck out of that. That was fine for me. That was perfectly fine for me. I loved that. And the latter half of the film, the later stages of this film was amazing. It was amazing towards the end. But because of the way the first half of the film was set up, it was kind of harder to really get, out of my seat and ready to be entertained by this. Like the same way that, say, Avengers Endgame really got you towards the climax of the movie and got everybody hyped, it struggled to do that for me because all of the suspense was gone. And because everything felt like a chore and nothing really mattered, and it was a big treasure hunt for some magical MacGuffin that in the end kind of didn't matter. And for the rest of the film, you're just kind of like, okay, this is just okay. And I think that's one of the biggest problems is like, I expect my Star Wars films to be more than just okay. And this is just okay. It's okay. I don't think it deserves any of the vitriol that it might be getting from some critics and some fans trying to claim that it's the worst of the franchise. I don't think it's that bad. It's just okay. There's really not much more that you can say about this film because there's not much to this. I just wish it was so much better. I really do. And because of that, I can't really give The Rise of Skywalker anything more than a 2. I was settled on 3 once I stepped out of here because, that 3 is, in my opinion, my baseline for, right there in the middle. But, nah, I fell asleep throughout, some of the least suspenseful areas of the film, just jumping from set pieces that places and scenes that didn't really matter. It was hard to keep my attention, but when it was there on screen, when you got to the suspense, when you got to the big story elements of the film, it really kept my attention. But it's just okay. It's just okay. I've always been a big Star Wars fan. My dad is who got me into this, and I think he would have been disappointed in this, especially after the first two. And this is a guy who absolutely loved the prequels. Like I always used to rib him about that. It's like, man, the prequels they kind of whack. And he's like, no, I loved them. Give me more of that trade agreement bullshit. Give me some more of that. But I think he would have been disappointed with this, just primarily because of how long it was and just how nothing really seemed to matter in the end. It was just an obligation to get through. If you agree with me, if you feel that I'm wrong, if you think that I'm kind of an idiot, which, we both know I am, yay, let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to hop on HEELKAIJU.com/shop, drop some merch. And with Skywalker being done, I don't know what's happening next with Star Wars, so hopefully we'll get some more coming in the next decade or so. More Star Wars is always a good thing. Even if it ends up being mediocre, I still want my Sky Wizards versus Sky Nazis. So, here's hoping we got more for the future. We'll catch you later. Deuces.